Welcome to Yoga Chats with me, your host, Greg Walsh. Today's guest is Dave Brocklebank. Few people in Ireland, in the Irish yoga scene, are unaware of Dave, as he set up the Burren Yoga Centre 22 years ago, before many people were doing yoga at all in Ireland. A really brave move. Dave, thank you for joining us today.
Greg, great to chat with you, and you're always good for bringing together the yoga community. I still remember the yoga festival you had many years ago, and great to chat to you.
That was about 12 years ago. Yeah, that was a lovely day. We did it 2 years, two lovely days. Yeah.
That was the first time I tasted the happy pear stuff.
Ah, stop. Wow. They have gone from strength to strength, haven't they?
Right.
Yeah. Such good food. But Dave, I've had some of my nicest food in the Burren Yoga Centre, I got to tell you, over the years. I used to, for those of you at home, I used to teach retreats in the Burren Yoga Centre. Then my life just got too busy, but I have so many happy memories. I was always very well looked after down there as the teacher. It was always such a lovely experience. Dave, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Absolutely, love to.
Brilliant. So, truly, you are someone who took up yoga before it was fashionable to do. If you opened a yoga center in 1999. So when most people were just hearing about yoga, the Burren Yoga Center was already there. For that reason, I bet you have an interesting story. Can you tell us a bit about your path to yoga?
Okay, my path to yoga is actually quite an unusual path, because I actually started with meditation back in 1978. And at that stage, I was 19 years of age. I just started off college, but I became fascinated with meditation. And I signed up to the training course and began practicing twice a day. And the very strange thing was, I wasn't practicing the meditation to get anything else. It was actually the whole experience of the meditation itself. I found I entered into altered states very easily, and the peacefulness and the calmness that came about through it was incredible. And the strange thing is, I only came across yoga 10 years later, when I realized yoga was something to do with meditation. And luckily enough, I became involved with maybe a slightly more spiritual form of yoga. And it just resonated because it brought the yoga and the meditation together.
Brilliant. That's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, you were lucky you found, because I know that was something that always struck me. You were very keen on meditation. You always wanted to work with yoga teachers who could incorporate meditation, because you've always really seen the value of it, which I do appreciate. So I'm going to throw another question at you.
Sure.
So, because now you've been running the Burren Yoga Centre for 22 years, the first yoga retreat centre in Ireland, I didn't realize that until recently. I really think that was such a brave move. So, many people 22 years into their business would be settling into complacency, but instead you've just plowed a fortune into rebuilding the centre from the ground up. And I've seen photographs of it, and I'm really quite wowed. You've new accommodation, you've new dining area, you have a spectacular new yoga room. Tell me more, you wild man.
Maybe just a step back a tiny bit, Greg. The meditation, I think, is so important that it calms down the chatter of the mind, and it gets you in touch with the deep essence inside our being. And the minute we start aligning with our deeper essence, it's like as if our whole calling in life, we begin to follow it. So when I started the Yoga and Meditation Center, my biggest goal was try to get as many people daily practicing yoga and meditation in their lives. So when you start following your inner essence like that, it doesn't wane after 22 years. It doesn't wane after 40 or 50 years. You keep following on that path. But I've always been aware, when I set up the yoga center 22 years back, there was, weak points of the yoga center. And the biggest weak point was the lack of space, the lack of ensuite bedrooms. So that has never left my vision. And I've always waited for the right time. And now the right time is, we've now built this incredible yoga center, which is 3 times the size of the old center. It has ensuite single rooms, ensuite twins, ensuite triples. We still have a couple of the old shared rooms. So we're hoping to offer a whole price range that's not going to vary very much from our old prices for the shared rooms. And then the spectacular yoga room on the first floor with the views over the Burren Hills are just to die for.
Wow, that is really exciting. And it's funny because it's been a very challenging time for all of us. You know, the last year, most yoga businesses have been closed, but you have certainly not sat on your laurels. You've really made the most of this downtime. So with that in mind, you know, most centers, yoga studios, yoga businesses have been mostly closed or purely online, and for over a year. And I'm aware that you've taken great lengths to ensure the safety of your retreat and attendees in the new world, because now we're going to enter a phase of living with COVID. It's not gone away. And so can you tell me what have you done to sort of proof your new business?
Absolutely. I think about 6 or 9 months ago, it became very, very clear to me that COVID wasn't going to suddenly go away and we were going to go back to the way we were. So the first thing I did was I did a lot of research about how to create the safest environment possible. And one of the guidelines that I recommended is fresh air. Do outdoor stuff instead of indoor stuff. So I was trying to think about it creatively. How can you do indoor stuff but still have all this fresh air? So I've invested over 30,000 euros in air ventilation systems to take out all the stale air out of the rooms, take the heat out of it, and to have it piped into all the rooms. Now, we were very fortunate because the building was only happening at the time. We were able to make those changes at the design stage. And I really believe that huge investment is going to ensure a lot of the safety of guests. The other thing we have is we have a huge, big, spacious dining room. We have these big round tables and we have glass screens between them. So we can still have the social eating, but in a very safe environment where all the stale air is sucked out. We've really put in top of the range cleaning and sanitizing methods. And then the other thing is, even though the yoga center has increased in size, it's 3 times the size of what it was now, we are still staying at only 15 guests. And the main reason one of the motivations for doing this is I want to provide the best possible environment to learn yoga and meditation, and also have some good fun and cracking great food, and not turn it into a money-making venture.
Yeah, well, it never felt like it was, I have to say. I'm quite wowed and amazed. I think we need to have a private chat about all of all these things, because I'm going to be reopening my space in Temple Bar at some point this year. And so what you're saying is the harder people work in the yoga room, the cozier they're going to be in their beds at night, in a way. The heat of the room is warming, the heat of the yoga is warming the rooms. Am I right?
Well, excuse me, Greg. It's mainly that any heat that's generated in any part of the building is not lost. You don't open the window and lose that heat. Yeah. It's piped to the other rooms that need the heat. So, and this is going on a continuous basis. It's a huge outlay of money at the start, but it actually is very, very cheap to run after you install the systems.
I'd imagine so. That is absolutely fascinating. I can't wait. I'm hoping this summer we can travel around, and I can't wait to come down and see it. So, brilliant. Dave, have you any takeaway that viewers can bring home from our yoga chats today?
I think one key thing is, if we genuinely practice meditation every single day, and it can't be just sort of 3 days here, 3 days there. It's incredible the transformation that happens to our mind. The chatter dies down. We get much more in touch with these very subtle feelings that are inside all of us, but we don't really notice. And the minute we get aligned with those inner essence, it's like as if we discover our true path and our true meaning of life. And when we start following those things, nothing stops it. It doesn't mean if COVID comes along, you stop and you give up and whatever. It doesn't mean no matter how big the challenge is, you stay happy in yourself, you still stay motivated to try to help other people, and eventually you find the right way forward.
Wow. Dave, on behalf of all of our viewers, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to have these yoga chats today. For me, it's been really uplifting to hear how you've been so productive in this downtime and how you're meeting the challenges head on. And it sounds like there's a very exciting future for the Burren Yoga Centre.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, Greg. And thanks again for pulling together the yoga community. because you're the best guy to do it.
Well, that's all for now, folks. I'm Greg Walsh. Thank you for watching, and I hope you can join us for more Yoga Chats soon.
Okay.